ESPN's coverage of the 57th National Invitation Tournament continues from Selland Arena in Fresno, California. It's a WAC Pac-10 matchup. The Bulldogs at 19-10 against the USC Trojans at 16-11. Hi, welcome back to Game 3 of our triple header. I'm Chris Fowler. We've put Digger Phelps to bed. Already a good evening for USC. The women's team has won. This is the first meeting with Fresno State in basketball in 65 years, but it reminds us of that Freedom Bowl game in '92 where the Bulldogs beat the Trojans and maybe cost Larry Smith his job. We'll see what happens in this ball game. We'll check the brackets of the NIT. Already plenty of games underway. Siena beating Georgia Tech this afternoon. Sets up a second-round matchup with Tulane. Bradley has beaten Murray State. Manhattan and Old Dominion play tomorrow. The other bracket, Northwestern at home gets by DePaul in a great one. Xavier beats Miami for the second time this year. Duquesne advances. Canisius and Villanova will play tomorrow. New Orleans makes it 2 teams from the Big Easy to move on. Oklahoma defeated by Vanderbilt. That should be Vanderbilt against New Orleans in the second round. The Sooners go down by 10 at home. And in the final bracket, this is the first game to be played. There are 3 teams from the Pac-10 in that final bracket. It'll be the Trojans and the Bulldogs. Lorenzo Orr and company finishing up the regular season with 4 victories. Steve Physiak and the former Bruin Marcus Johnson will have the call for you after this.
Thinking of doing your own home improvements? Then you want to visit Coalinga Home Improvement Center. Contractors find a wide selection of materials that can only be found at CHIC, including lumber. CHIC offers a huge selection of lumber material. Plus, save money on high energy costs at CHIC.
5 out of you, need 5 out of you, need 5 out of you. You big guys, I know you're going to do your job, but just when you go in there, just don't leak out on Travis, and Lee, and Chris. Kenny, you're going to need help, and we're going to come in there and help you. Because they're going to send 3, 4 people to the boards hard. And if we can go in there and match up with them, we'll be fine.
Welcome to Selland Arena in Fresno, California, where tonight we bring you the first-round NIT game with the USC Trojans, 16 wins this year, and the Fresno State Bulldogs. They are 19-10. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Physiak. This is Marcus Johnson. You just saw Gary Colson of Fresno State telling his team to watch out for the physical play of USC. They have not met Southern Cal in 64 years, 1929. But Gary Colson saying, hey, bring them on. The bigger, the better.
Yeah, but what about hot? This SC team has won 4 in a row, including wins over Cal and UCLA.
And we have 2 of the most exciting players on the West Coast you'll have a chance to see tonight in Lorenzo Orr and Carl Ray Harris.
Lorenzo Orr is a tremendous leaper who's worked hard to improve his all-around game. He's doing a lot better job of letting the game come to him. Carl Ray Harris, this young man, was on fire in the WAC tournament, 60 points in 2 games, and he's a pretty good leaper himself. He'll be competing in the NCAA Slam Dunk Championships down in Charlotte, North Carolina. 2 guys with serious boosting.
Yes, they do. We've got them. It is Fresno State hosting USC. We'll come back with the starting lineups of Game 3 of our ESP NIT triple header. By Above the Rim from New Line Cinema starts Wednesday, March 23rd at a theater near you. And by Staples, the Office Superstore. A near sellout crowd at 10,200 seats, Selland Arena in Fresno, California for tonight's NIT matchup of USC and Fresno State. Let's check out the Staples starting lineups for the 16-11 Trojans. Bert Harris, very talented point guard. He has played well the last 4 games. USC has won all 4, but one note. Stace Bozeman will be starting for Brandon Martin, who is out with a stress fracture, will not play. Boyd or Ankrum right there on the front line. And their coach, in his 8th year, the dean of the Pac-10, George Raveling. He played in the NIT for Villanova in 1960. The 5 Bulldogs he'll face tonight, good size with 6'9" Mayberry and 6'7" Stell, but it's also very versatile with a 6'4" Seth Marshall, who can play point guard, the wing, the low post. He's averaging 13.5 points per game. Bulldogs coach has been in this college business 33 years with 548 wins. He has a chance at Fresno State first 20-win season since 1985. And he just found out about 20 minutes ago, this is what happened. Brian Santiago, their point guard, was carried from the floor, stepped on a teammate's ankle, sprained it. It has been retaped, and he has worked with trainer Ed Pereira, and he came out and wanted to go. They had Devon Satterwhite ready to start, but Santiago, he's a senior, said, hey, this may be it for me. I'm playing. And the tap is controlled by Santiago. Again, Santiago in the backcourt with Carl Ray Harris in the front line. Seth Marshall, Lee Mayberry, and Travis Stell. It is Marshall with the basketball. Very gifted player, takes it straight to the hoop and then throws it away.
Yeah, he was out of control. Seth Marshall that time left his feet to make the pass. Stays Bozeman. Good anticipation defensively.
Bird Harris, the point guard who's been averaging 15 points per game in the last 4, all of them USC victories. And he'll fire from three-point range and score.
That was a scripted play by George Raveling. He likes to come out and design a play to open the game. Usually it's a lob for Orr. That time Harris popped, knocked down the jump shot.
They tried the alley-oop to lead Mayberry, and Mayberry went high, but the pass too tall. Mark Boyd has it stripped by Carl Ray Harris.
Carl Ray Harris takes it to the hoop with authority. A nice crossover dribble, but a great battle on the offensive boards by USC.
I'll tell you what, Fresno State is really, really motivated for this basketball game. And I think a lot of it has to do with the Santiago situation.
It is. He needs 3 assists to become the career leader for his school. No way in the world was he going to miss out on a chance at doing that. If Mayberry would knock down one of these lobs, maybe he can get it and get out the game.
This is the freshman Stace Bozeman. Fresno State in the man defense. Bozeman missing. Marshall rebounding, and he flies out of there with it. We have seen this ball club before, Marcus, and Fresno State, just the energy they've started this game with, they're really fired up for postseason. Their first postseason since 1985 when they played at the NIT.
You know, Gary Colson said that this team, he wanted them to relax and just really think of this as gravy, that the war is over, but they are coming out attacking like it's World War III out here.
And a personal foul is called against Brian Santiago. This is the Carl Ray Harris strip, steal, and score.
Yeah, and watch the nice move here as he loses. Lorenzo Orr just splits the defenders. Nice little running one-hander in the key. Carl Ray Harris, as I mentioned before, he's really been shooting the ball well and taking it to the basket with authority.
He had 60 points in the 2 games in the WAC tournament, 31 against Brigham Young, and tied a career best. And again, it will go against USC.
Mark Boyd, he really posts up aggressively. He will battle you all the way. I mean, he slaps you upside the head. He uses his elbows, anything to free himself. That time the official caught him.
And he has to watch that because they need the senior from Georgia. He has made more fouls in his USC career than any other Trojan. That was the 409th foul, averaging almost 4 a game.
Kind of an ominous record to hold.
Yeah. Marshall missing the shot. USC with a 3-2 lead. Bird Harris comes down, turns it over. Marshall ahead to Carl Ray Harris. Tough shot.
Carl Ray Harris told me he was in a zone, a playground zone during the WAC tournament, and he hasn't come out of it yet. If this is a dream, don't wake me.
There you go. He had 20 of 27 from the field in the WAC tournament and 10 3-pointers. Lorenzo Orr hits the 2, and USC is back in front at 5-4.
Lorenzo Orr doesn't want to be known as strictly a dunker. He's worked very hard on his jump shot. We saw the form there.
Stell going down low. Carl Ray Harris. Wow.
You could put a blindfold on him. He still would have made that shot again. Just playing superb offensive basketball.
And Marcus, we got here a good 2 hours, 15 minutes before the ball game, and he was the first player on the floor, warming up.
When it's going good for you, you want to keep it like that. Good defense by Mayberry. Here's Carl Ray. He hits.
He's got 8 points, and Fresno State in front by 3.
All 8 of Fresno State's points. Carl Ray Harris, he had 23 in the first half against BYU, so he can score in bunches.
Lorenzo Orr slipping but he was elbowed by Travis Stell, and that will be Stell's first personal foul.
The Trojans do this a lot, Steve. They like to isolate their forwards, Boyd and Orr, on the weak side against bigger, slower defensive players.
We've got 15:57 remaining first half. A great start with Fresno State leading USC 8-5. Block shots, get him in an up-tempo game. We could be successful.
Yeah, well, the block shot led to this bucket for Carl Ray. Lee Mayberry doing a good job of covering the hole. Ryan Santiago kicks it out early, and Carl Ray does the rest. Not an easy shot as Bert Harris takes a swipe at it. Carl Ray, though, with a nice soft touch off the glass.
And he has 8 points to start this game, and that little jump throw-up hook that went in kind of gave the indication that he is still in that zone. And there's Brian Santiago. He looks like a Marine with that haircut, and he's playing like a Marine after spraining his ankle just 20 minutes before the ball game. USC just 2 for 7 from the floor.
Got a kind of a Willis Reed, New York Knicks thing going on when he kind of hobble out onto the court when they play the Lakers for inspiration.
There you go.
Santiago's doing more than just inspiring. He's playing good basketball.
Well, as USC's lines were being announced, all the seniors had their arms around each other.
Fresno State in a 1-3-1 zone now. They started man-to-man. They're changing up defensively.
Mark Boyd tried to throw it low to Bozeman. One pass too many, and Fresno State comes up with another steal. Santiago was not fast to start with, and now Stell left it down around his knees and had it stripped by USC. Bozeman is fouled. It may be against Stell. If it is, that will be his second.
Good find here by Mark Boyd. Stays Bozeman just kind of lurking around the baseline. Takes it up strong. Bozeman, an outstanding athlete, 2-sport star at Morningside High School, was voted the athlete of the year in the state of California last year in high school ranks.
And he goes right to that free throw line where he's a 58% foul shooter. That was Travis Stell's second foul. But you're right, there are many, including John Robinson, who's the coach at USC, who would love to have him in his defensive backfield.
Yeah, talked to Stage before the game. He says football is definitely in his plans. He plans to put on the pad after a 2-year stint that he had to sit out according to NCAA rules.
Bozeman makes both. USC down by 1.
See, now the hype is over. Both teams have kind of settled down a bit. Now you're going to see more realistic basketball out here. SC just has to play good, tough defense.
And USC showing the zone, and George Raveling says, with this success, our zone defense has really been our base defense, and it has helped them win 5 of their last 6 ball games.
It confuses opponents sometimes because the principles aren't clear-cut. Sometimes the top guy, the guard, might go through with this offensive guy. Sometimes he might hold that up at top. It's a matchup 1-2-2 zone, and they really do a good job of it.
He gives his defenders a lot of read and react flexibility. Here is Seth Marshall. When he has scored, I mean, big from like 15 to 20 points per game, Fresno State has won. And this is a guy who can really play the 4 of the power forward spot, and they will swing him out, and he will play the point guard.
But he's their blend player. He's a guy that sacrifices offensive scoring for the good of the team. He could score a lot more points, but he's trying to help get everyone else off and play good, tough defense.
We had a lot of energy to start this game. Now we have drifted down to let's see how these two teams match up. Or going against Chris Colford, who has replaced Travis Stell, who's out with 2 fouls, and there is Mark Boyd stepping along the baseline. No foul was called against Lee Mayberry.
And Mark Boyd's got to realize that this is the postseason, that they're going to get away with a lot of contact. The referees are going to let these two teams play.
Now they extend that matchup zone defense. Orr is in the middle, and they're having Bozeman chase around Santiago. Almost a box and one.
That's what I mean about the principles being really clear to read when you're just watching them as a spectator. That time Bozeman, as you mentioned, just shadowed Santiago all over the floor. Sometimes he'll let him go through and not guard him.
You just saw George Raveling and his assistant coach Jack Fertig was telling us they cannot allow Brian Santiago to have any set shots. Meantime, going out and getting that set shot and knocking it down is Demaine Powell, 6'1" senior from Long Beach. He is the backup point guard, but they will play he and Harris together quite often. There's a steal by Bozeman. And a block foul against Chris Cofer.
You can't believe the fans threw that call. Like Cofer just really had a lot of contact, a lot of leg to knee contact. Bozeman trying to blow by him.
Well, you talked to George about Stace Bozeman. He just loves him. This guy is just an 18-year-old freshman. And really, Marcus, for the first time in his athletic career, he's playing one sport the entire year, and there's no telling how good number 35 can be. Powell recovers. We're tied at 10 at the 13:27 mark. Ankrum for three. There's 6'5" Bozeman, who is their best percentage three-point shooter at 42%, and USC has not missed from outside. They are 3 for 3.
So, man, Ankrum can shoot that shot. Fresno State wants to give it to him, but I saw him hit 4 for 4 against UCLA, so I'm a believer.
They go low, Cofer, and a foul.
Foul on number 21, Lorenzo Orr.
Well, it will not be in the shot, Marcus. It'll be Fresno State basketball on the side as Orr picks up his second.
Yeah, they were going a little do-si-do in the low post.
Did you see that block by Bozeman? Marshall got it and laid it in with the left hand. Foul on Mark Boyd. Boyd is a young man who might be George Ravling's favorite player. I mean, ever. The hard work and the dedication that he has given him.
Yeah, he started 72 straight games for SC. Good job getting good position inside, and kind of a hook by Boyd, not called, but takes it up strong and draws the foul.
So Cofer goes to sit down, and Stell back in the lineup. Cofer picks up a quick 2. Stell is in with 2 personal fouls, and Fresno State has already 5 team fouls in this game to USC's 3.
Mark Boyd, as I mentioned, works hard, posting up. He reminds me of Bernard King. He's the guy when you guard it who just beats you up so badly. When you were playing defense against him, finally you just said, "Go ahead, man, get the ball, score. Let's get this over with."
Well, Ravling said he is the most unusual kid he's ever coached. He could care less for his body. He'll dive on the floor for everything, and he has been injured, beaten up, battered, bruised, but he still goes out there every single night. And USC is in front by 3 at the 12:35 mark of this first half.
So we've got Bozeman shadowing Carl Ray Harris now.
Look at him. He's everywhere. He's blocked a couple of shots. He's come up with a couple of steals already. And here comes Bert Harris back in the ball game to Boyd. Well, there's your Bernard King shot.
That's Bernard King all the way. You didn't see the dirty work before he got the ball inside. He really did a good job putting a body in the big Lee Mayberry.
And the Trojans have their biggest lead, 5. Santiago got lost, almost threw it away. And he does now. Bert Harris stepped in the passing lane. And USC throws it away. No, it was last touch by Carl Ray Harris.
No major argument from Carl Ray. Well, I would assume that was a good call.
Time out on the floor, 11 minutes and 46 seconds to play first half. And George Ravling, his team's playing well. For 20 years, check out the comment when we asked Coach George Ravling about Fresno State's guard, Carl Ray Harris.
I think he would be an all Pac-10 guard if he played in our conference, and I certainly think that he is a high draft choice. And I can feel him being hugged by my idol, Gary Colson here.
They have had a long, long relationship. It all started when George Ravling got a coaches clinic together, and he said, "Hey, who's the best offensive mind in the game? I think it's Gary Colson. I want him to teach the offense." And so they've been doing it every year for 20 seasons.
Oh, that was Coach Ravling and Colson. I thought it was Calipari Cheney. My fault.
Here we go. Fresno State down by 5 points, 11 minutes and 42 seconds left.
If somebody's got to step up offensively, they're trying to shut down and key in on Carl Ray Harris. Somebody else has got to knock down some perimeter shots for Fresno State.
They've got Carl Ray Harris posting up now, and he scores. Has he missed a shot in this game?
I haven't remembered a shot that he's missed. Carl Ray says nobody's going to step up, so I'll keep doing it myself. Good job.
He is 5 for 5, and Mark Boyd misses short, gets his own rebound. Boy, they are a great offensive rebounding team. Boyd on the third try knocks it down.
If it once you don't succeed, doing a fine job, Sage Bozeman, Mark Boyd, keeping the basketball alive. Their best offense might be to take a shot and then just go chase it down.
Lee Mayberry had to put it to the floor, almost drew the defense in, and is still able to knock it down. Boyd down low. Ankrum recovers it. The 10:41 mark of this first half, and USC leads Fresno State by 3. Stell on Ankrum. Bozeman. A 3 by Stace Bozeman.
Number 35, Stace Bozeman.
Boy, Southern Cal really playing well to start this ball game. Traveling violation against USC, and it'll be Fresno State ball. Santiago, Stell, Mayberry, Harris, Marshall. That's the Fresno State 5 with Boyd, Harris, Ankrum. Now Wilson, Jaha Wilson coming in for Mark Boyd, and they'll get a little more athletic. And usually when he comes in, Marcus, that means full court press.
Full court press, and Jaha, which means king of warriors, does a tremendous job also inside. He's just going to add to the strength in terms of offensive rebounding.
Well, I saw him in the San Francisco high school ranks last year, and he was indeed the king of the Warriors. Great city player of the year in San Francisco. Santiago, he has taken one shot and missed that. It was from three-point range. Here's Carl Ray Harris missing long. That's his first miss of the game, and it is out of bounds to the Bulldogs.
And USC has to continue to block out inside on that shot. Stell was left wide open. Nobody put a body on him. He was able to get right to the offensive board.
And, you know, Marcus, we talked about George Raveling playing in the NIT. It was back in 1960 when he played for Villanova, and he hit 2 free throws to help beat Dave DeBuscher's Detroit team 88-86. And he said he always loves playing in this tournament. One reason why is to get back to New York, where the great restaurants are.
Yeah, well, that's their goal. It's been business as usual for USC this week. They've had intense practices. On the other hand, Gary Colson has kind of laid back off of his senior filled Fresno State squad. And again, he wants to reward them and make them feel good about what they accomplished this year. He doesn't want to have them experiencing a lot of pressure. He wants this to be strictly fun.
Fresno State, a very good foul shooting team at 71.5%. USC has struggled this year in that area, only 62. We're at the halfway mark of the first half, and USC leading the Bulldogs by 4 points, 22-18. And USC right now beating Fresno State at their own game. USC has hit 4 3-pointers, and Fresno State has not even hit one. Devon Satterwhite in the game. He rebounds, gets it out to Harris. See ya!
Straight out of Fresno, Carl Ray Harris. You just see the acceleration. He looks like a road runner with rockets on his sneakers. Here's the outlet pass. Good job by Satterwhite with the rebound. Just kicks it up to a streaking Carl Ray. And watch him explode by Bozeman. Draws the foul, and he does a good job with that one-handed runner going to his left.
So Carl Ray Harris already with 12 points on the night. 6 for 9 from the field. He hit his first 5 shots. He misses the free throw. And it's not going to bounce to Fresno State.
Carl Ray Harris has to continue to take the ball to the basket, keep the crowd at the level that it is.
Santiago for 3.
Willis Reed, 1994, the inspirational, motivational jump shot, Brian Santiago.
Robert
championship. Coming back in the Brian Santiago 3 forced George Raveling to call the timeout.
He had to make the adjustment. He has no lift with that sprained ankle, but he's still able to get enough arc on it to get it to go in. And is this guy pumped up or what? Brian Santiago, the inspirational leader for Fresno State.
And that was their first three-pointer of the night. Last week in the WAC tournament, they set a WAC tournament and Fresno State and WAC regular season 3 record with 13 in one game, and they beat UTEP by 22 points.
We have to keep limiting USC to one shot, get the ball out quickly, and look for Carl Ray to do his thing in the transition game.
And Fresno State has gone to their 2-3 matchup zone. Santiago Harris out front. Good passing, and Boyd had a great look at the hoop, but just came up short. Santiago again. He hits.
Inside, outside basketball. Carl Ray into the low post to Stell. Kicked it to a wide open Santiago. Nothing but money.
It will be offensive goaltending against Mark Boyd, and Fresno State will try and continue their 8-0 run. That has taken them from a 5-0 disadvantage to a 26-22 lead.
Let's see if USC stays with the zone. Brian Santiago is hot right now. He's finding the seams, finding the openings in the corners.
And they've got Harris chasing him now, but they'll switch off to Bozeman. Stell. But Mayberry and Stell are pretty good low post passers. Stell struggles with it and loses it.
Team heats up like that from the outside. George Raveling knows you got to get out of that zone, start putting some defensive pressure on a man-to-man.
Boyd, left hand. I like him.
He's one of those guys at 6'7" speed that plays, like you say, a lot bigger. He plays at about 6'9", 6'10", with his body and his long arms and his quickness off his feet.
Lee Mayberry, nice catch, and gets the 2. Fresno State goes back up by 4. Mayberry with 4 points. Most of his points will be either layups or dunks. His job, defensive rebound, outlet pass. Mayberry bumped Boyd, and there will be a foul. And Gary Colson, I think, is going to complain here about the late whistle.
It was almost as if Mark Boyd kind of glared at the official, and he said, well, I guess I'd better call this one because I didn't call the last one. But it looked like Mayberry didn't get a lot of body on him as he tried to go baseline.
So that is the first foul on Lee Mayberry, and he will stay in the game. Fresno State is not nearly as deep as USC. George Raveling and his coaching staff saying they'd love to get their 2 big guys, Stell and Mayberry, in foul trouble.
You know, Fresno State almost had to stay with its zone because of Brian Santiago's immobility.
Or put it to the floor. That got him in trouble. But Harris with the save. Shot clock is at 14. Bozeman out to Harris for 3. Satterwhite rebound. Oh, he is fouled as he took it to the basket. That was one of those, you take it to the hoop, out of control against 3, and you say, please, somebody foul me.
The playground zone again. Transition game, get it and go stage. Bozeman goes for the steal. Looks like he had a piece of the jersey of Carl Ray Harris to help him fall to the ground.
And this young man, one of the most athletic players you will see in the country, only 6'2", but is an incredible dunker. I mean, I've seen him go up, catch alley-oops with his elbows over the rim and just smash it down. Dynamic player. And the NBA scouts here watching him. This is what he did last week in the Western Athletic Conference tournament.
Elbows over the rim, Steve?
Elbows over the rim.
That's some pretty fair jumping.
Kenny Rassi comes in the game, the 7-foot freshman who only plays about 3-4 minutes a contest. And that was in preseason.
He's got to get some time tonight.
So Harris makes both, and Fresno State is in front by 6. Brandon Bakke comes in for Carl Ray Harris. And the Dogs will go with Bakke, Santiago at guards, with now Marshall, Rassi, and Satterwhite in the front line. USC countering with Powell, Boyd, Harris, Orr, and Anchor. So let's see if George Raveling's Trojans can make a run. Ankrum. This time he misses the three. Baki is a good three-point shooter. Look at this Kenny Rassi. What's he doing? I thought he was in there to send the ball back out to the three shooters. There's a lob. Or misses. Marshall rebound.
That was a good pass by Harris, or just caught too far to the basket. Santiago obviously limping around the court. Again, hobbled by that sprained ankle suffered in 3-game warm-ups.
Marshall was stripped as he went for the shot, and Seth Marshall will be at the free throw line. The foul went against Mark Boyd.
Here's Brian Santiago, and you can see just an obvious limp. He's played the whole first half. You don't want to take a chance at an ankle tightening up, getting cold, sitting down on the bench, so they're not going to take him out. He's going to stay in the ball game.
Jaha Wilson comes back in for USC, and back in for Fresno State is Carl Ray Harris. So Boyd has 2 fouls. On Fresno State side, Travis Stell has a pair. Lorenzo Orr also has 2 for USC, and he is still on the floor.
And look at this lineup. Fresno State, they've got Rossi in there, the big 7-footer, but 4 guards, Baki Harris, Seth Marshall, and Brian Santiago.
And Seth Marshall, well, Gary Colson said, I used to have a guy at Pepperdine when I was coach there by the name of Dennis Johnson. And that's what Seth gives me. He said he'll give me points, rebounds, assists, and great defense.
But Dennis Johnson, not a flashy scorer, just an all-around basketball player, a lot of success in the NBA. That's a nice compliment.
Powell with the travel, and all of a sudden, everything unraveling for George Raveling.
And Brian Santiago gets his first blow of the basketball game, and just a job well done for this young man. In a lot of pain, it's very obvious, but he's out there playing his heart out. His last basketball game, maybe here at Fresno State, he was not going to miss that tonight.
Every time I see that haircut, I want to sing the Marines hymn from the halls of Montezuma.
The shores of Triple E.
Here goes Marshall looking for Carl Ray Harris, but he's well covered by Bert Harris. Satterwhite missing the 3. Jaha Wilson with the rebound. 5:15 to go first half, and USC with 1 field goal in almost 5.5 minutes until this one. Bert Harris with a big 3 to cut the lead for Fresno State to 5, and Harris has 6 points.
Well, Bert's got to adopt a shooter's mentality, especially when Demaine Powell is in the basketball game. Let him handle the ball.
Marshall goes to Rassi, and it might be a push-off against Kenny. It will be, and that will be his first foul. And Gary Colson turns and looks at his bench, and he wants Lee Mayberry back in for the freshman.
Yeah, that was a rookie mistake. He already had good position inside. The ball was in the air. It was a perfect pass. He pushed after it was delivered, and that's where he got the foul. We see here the good position. He's got a nice steal going on Jaha Wilson, and there's the 2 hands in the back before the ball gets there, an obvious foul.
They never call that on me in pickup. But they never throw me the ball either, so I don't have a chance to push.
Just stand outside, spot up, shoot those long jumpers.
There you go.
Play. You don't want to get in there with the big fellas.
Well, here's Jaha. He was part of the outstanding recruiting class by Coach Raveling this year. You talk of Andre Jones, you talk Jaha Wilson, Stace Bozeman, and also Claude Green, who's not with the club right now, trying to get his grades back in order.
I'm surprised we haven't seen of Andre Jones yet in this basketball game. He's been getting a lot of playing time lately.
Fresno State leading by 4. Marshall with the pull-up.
Good decision by Seth Marshall. Brings it down court. Nobody picks him up. He gets to within 15 feet. Pull up and shoot the free throw line jumper.
They trap Bert Harris, who gets it back to Wilson. Or Well, that's what they want to see from Lorenzo, and Wilson with the offensive rebound, and a foul is called. And if that is against Mayberry, that will be his second. You see Brian Santiago getting set to check back in for Fresno State at the point. And the foul is against Mayberry, number 2. Hey, they may have to get Kenny Rassi back in there because Stell has a pair. They don't want to have Mayberry picking up his third before halftime.
Lorenzo Orr throwing the ball up. Not a very good shot, but nice head fake by Jahar Wilson. He just kind of slipped in that zone. In the zone defense, you're rebounding in position, not so much with men, but you have to find somebody in your area right away and put a body on them.
4 minutes, 8 seconds to play in the first half. Wilson makes both. Fresno State's lead is 5 now.
USC picks up the pressure. They've got like a 1-2-2 3/4 court trap going.
Woo. Dangerous pass. Or trying to strip Seth Marshall. Seth was kind of left alone in the backcourt to bring it up by himself, wasn't he, Marcus?
Yes, he was. And again, Brian Santiago is not much help because of the ankle injury, so it's going to be Marshall and Harris.
And Gary Colson just asked him how he's feeling.
Just let me roll with you, baby, and roll your...
Marcus Johnson at the first round of the NIT with George Rasling's Trojans are down by 5 to Fresno State. We've got the NIT on ESPN second round next week with Monday showcase at 7:30. And also on Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern Time. Then the quarterfinals Wednesday 7:30 and 9:30 only on ESPN. The winner of this game will play the winner of the Arizona State Brigham Young game. You might have a chance to watch that here on the Total Sports Network. Fresno State, when they shoot better than 50%, they have not been beaten this year, and they're shooting 60% for this game. Tough play by Carl Ray, or rather Seth Marshall, and a nice rebound by Travis Stell. One of the rare offensive rebounds they've come up with in this game.
Travis Stell, a good job inside. Really worked hard to get inside position. Did a good job of going back up strong also.
And the Bulldogs have a 7-point lead. Fresno State staying in a 2-3 matchup.
Way to hide Santiago with his injury. Doesn't really have to do a lot of sliding and cutting, which puts a lot of pressure on the ankle.
Nice runner by Domaine Powell. Cuts the lead to 5. Still looking for a cutter. Santiago with the left hand knocked away by Lorenzo Orr. And here comes Southern Cal. Bert Harris. A 4-0 run by USC to close within 3 at the 2.5-minute mark.
From USC, I put a lot of pressure on Santiago trying to deny the other passing outlet, make him have to make a move.
And Carl Ray Harris gets called for the foul, and he's telling official Jim Looselot, hey, he's grabbing me. We've got some exciting action in the NIT tonight, and you'll be seeing it at halftime. Chris Fowler comes your way, as he'll be taking a look at Texas A&M as they battle New Orleans in overtime. DePaul and Northwestern involved in a nail-biter. And now Georgia Tech, the Blues. That game at CM. I understand they came in full force. Powell at the free throw line. He has a chance to close the lead to 1, but he misses the first foul shot. Ankrum on the offensive putback.
Yeah, that's a design play, that offensive rebound off the missed free throw that George Raveling loves to do. Crosses, rebounder, send the third guy right down the lane. That's where Ankrum got the ball, was able to lay it back up.
So USC on a 6-0 run. And another almost turnover now results in one by Powell. Oh! Lorenzo Orr.
Lorenzo with a nice put down. Bert Harris, though, set him up. Just set it right there at the rim. Lorenzo did the rest.
And USC is back in front after the timeout. An 8-0 run. It was really, really very, very almost soft passes by Fresno State.
But USC does a good job of overplaying passing lanes, taking you out of what you want to do, and that's what they've done now. They've really turned up the defense.
Carl Ray Harris says, "Give me the ball." And he scores. That's the end of the 8-0 run by USC. 16 points now for Carl Ray Harris.
He scores in bunches. He'll be quiet for a couple of minutes, then he'll go up for 2 or 3 baskets, quiet again, then he gets hot.
Harris steps up his defense on Powell. Seth Marshall could have been called for a foul there. Bert Harris missing the 3, and a foul is called against USC. Someone on the back of Travis Dell, and it was Lorenzo Orr, and that is his 3rd.
Lorenzo Orr's had problems this year getting into early foul trouble, and that's 3 for him. He's been kind of quiet outside of the slam dunk.
Well, he had a marvelous NIT last year. I remember he had 20 points against UNLV in their opener when they blasted the Runnin' Rebels. And then they beat Pepperdine before losing to Minnesota, who wound up winning the NIT championship. But Orr had a tremendous NIT.
Yeah, he handed UNLV their worst loss ever in Thomas and Mack Arena, and that's something that the Rebels will never live down.
Travis Dell, meantime, hits his 5th point of the evening and gives Fresno State a 2-point advantage.
Stella's played a nice, solid basketball game. Not spectacular, but he's getting the job done.
Bulldogs back in front, 40-37. Cofer comes in for Stell, who has 2 fouls, so he likely will not see any more action this half. Cofer also playing with 2 fouls. Talk about backing your way in. Look at that play by Jaha Wilson.
He's so strong up with his upper body. Has great hands. He can catch anything thrown his direction. And then the nice soft touch. That's just a dangerous combination.
Marshall cutting to the hoop. Kicking it out to Carl Ray. Short. USC, as good a rebounding machine as they are, it's usually 1. And we'll take it up the floor to play a little offense. The separation and shot clock and game clock. Shot clock on your left. Harris looking, being trapped and firing, almost scoring, and Hominick with the tip-in. Fresno State and USC are tied with 2.7 seconds remaining in the first half. Harris will try and get it off as the halftime buzzer sounds. It is well short. And Gary Colson will walk to the locker room with our halftime score tied at 40. Now let's go back to our college basketball studio with Chris Fowler for the halftime report.
Steve, thank you. You saw Gary Colson's reaction there, slapping his hands, not happy with the halftime verdict. And we will come up and tell you all about the other games in the NIT, scores and highlights coming up, as well as the story of how Rod Stewart influenced an outcome of an NCAA women's game. When we continue at halftime after this. ESPN's exclusive coverage of college basketball is brought to you by Polaroid Captiva. The pictures stay in until you take them out. And by Colt 45 Malt Liquor. Colt 45 every time.
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. It gives your engine superior protection against wear, superior protection against heat and stress, superior cleaning power. Protect your car's engine with new advanced Quaker State motor oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines.
This is a new car. I'd be crazy not to use Quaker State.
Yeah, I was the first one in my family to even go to college. It was a nice thing, which is cool because now I can give back what I learned. And, you know, the brothers see me, maybe they'll want to do the right thing for themselves. I just think there's a lot of happening things in the world when you stop giving in.
Staples, we guarantee no one anywhere can beat our prices on office supplies or equipment. Staples, 30 to 70% savings on the office supplies you need every day. Staples, where delivery is free on any telephone order over $50. Staples, call for a free catalog or visit the Office Superstore. Why go anywhere else?
Polaroid asked me, Sinbad needs supermodels to demonstrate the sleek, stylish Captiva camera. It holds the pictures inside the camera's special pocket, so you take them out and put them in your pocket. My pocket. The Polaroid Captiva.
And welcome back. USC by a point over Fresno State at the break as we continue with our NIT coverage. Texas A&M and New Orleans playing perhaps the best game of the evening in the NIT. This game goes to overtime on the court of the Privateers. In the early going, David Edwards on the fast break finds Melvin Simon for the throwdown. Chuck Henderson gets open for the Aggies. Nails the three-pointer. Mostly Texas A&M, they'll work it inside, and the Privateers worked on the outside. Gerald Williams hits the J. The game goes to overtime. New Orleans win it. David Edwards had a chance to break a tie with 5 seconds to go, and the game tied at 68, but he missed the free throw. Vanderbilt and Oklahoma meeting in Norman in a game that you saw earlier on ESPN. Vanderbilt starting very, very sluggishly in this ballgame, but they were patient. They would get back in it. Coach Jan Van Bredekoff wasn't smiling early on. Off the inbound pass, though, Billy McCaffrey, the steal. The ex-Dookie buries the jumper, and it's Billy Tubbs now who's not happy. Oklahoma battles back. Calvin Curry off balance, gets the shot to drop. Sooners trail by as many as 9 in the first half. Jeff Webster comes up short with the dunk, and then Ronnie McMahon breaks the streak right there, and Oklahoma goes down. They had a streak of 12 consecutive 20-win seasons. Billy Tubbs' team had to win the NIT this year to keep it going. They don't do it. It's his worst season since his first season at Oklahoma. So we check the bracket. New Orleans and Vanderbilt will meet in the second round. Site and time to be announced. Southern Miss Clemson, Davidson, West Virginia. Our first-round matchups will be played tomorrow. This is the bracket from the game we're watching, USC and Fresno State. The bracket with the Western flavor, 3 Pac-10 teams involved. The other 3 games in the bracket will all be played tomorrow. We'll come back with the other half of the bracket. Some NCAA women's scores also. Lorenzo Orr throws down the alley-oop. The Trojans have a 1-point lead at the break. A lot more pleasant visit tonight as he goes over 1,000 points for the career, and the Green Wave move on to the second round with their 18th victory. Georgia Tech and Siena. Siena gets the home game up at the Knickerbocker Arena. They sell 10,000 tickets, and they just waited in ambush for a Georgia Tech team that didn't have James Forrest tonight, and Mike Dean's team played very well. Long-distance success, Andy Thies with the 3. Siena had 9 threes. Tech going to Martise Moore down low. They still trail by 3 at the half, and Siena had the answers for Bobby Cremins in the second half. Doremus Betterman drives right by Fred Vinson, and Siena gets past Georgia Tech 76-68. Bannerman, 33 points. He was 12 of 13 from the line. The Jackets finished the season with that big loss to Wake, and now the loss to Siena. Murray State and Bradley, 66-58. Bradley wins it as Dean Jackson has 16 points and 8 rebounds. So checking the bracket in that quarter of the NIT draw. If you look at this, you have to believe the NIT organizers wanted native Brooklynite Bobby Cremins and Georgia Tech in New York. It will not work out that way. Manhattan and ODU will fill out the rest of that bracket. Those teams will play tomorrow. Meanwhile, Northwestern in the postseason for the first time in 11 years, their first winning season in 11 years, against the crosstown team from DePaul. They were all fired up in Evanston, but perhaps too fired up on the court. A very shaky first half for the Wildcats, and the Blue Demons get the three-pointer at the end of the half that shouldn't have counted. Kleinsmith's shot did not beat the buzzer, but they did count it. Now, late in the game, Brandon Cole takes the 3 and misses. This is a key play. DePaul up by 1. The free throw not there, but nobody blocks out. Kip Kirkpatrick slides in, gets the hoop, and Northwestern gets out of there with a victory. They beat DePaul 69-68. It means a lot for this program to keep advancing in the NIT. Cedric Nellums had 24 points, and he had 6 rebounds. Miami of Ohio and Xavier in a cross-state battle in the Buckeye State. Xavier beat Miami by 3 points in December. This one, not that close. The Muskies dominating early here. Pete Sears grabs the loose ball, can't convert it. Brian Grant, though, with the follow. Grant continuing to pound the backboard. Jeff Massey's off. Grant there for the putback. Massey would finish with 17 points, and Herb Sendek, looked confused a lot of the night. Tyrese Walker the steal, and a nice finish. And Xavier in a game that really wasn't this close. Miami crept back in it in the second half, but Xavier wins by a dozen as Brian Grant had 17 points. Duquesne and UNC Charlotte now in the final game. We're going to show you the Dukes on their home court. It's another fairly close game. Charlotte had the lead early, then Ephraim Whitehead leads the break, finds Tom Pipkins, a nice pass and the dunk. UCLA transfer, Rodney Odom working inside for Charlotte. But then Miles Powers finds Derek Alston, backdoor, and the Dukes win it. 75-73, the record goes to 17-12. A nice win for the A-10. Alston, 28 points and the game-winning shot with 8 seconds to go. So checking out that bracket now, Duquesne awaiting the winner of the Canisius-Villanova game tomorrow, and Xavier and Northwestern will battle. The site and the time of these games has not been announced. NCAA women's game underway. Florida was supposed to host the game with A&M, but a Rod Stewart concert pushes the game to A&M. Every picture tells a story, don't it? Tonight's the night Florida gets knocked out as A&M pulls the upset. You have Rod Stewart to thank for that. Why is he playing a college 10 anyway? I mean, he could have college kids for his kids. As the scores roll on, we'll be right back.
Is brought to you by Topps. Collect the card that takes it to the extreme. Topps Stadium Club.